Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Fall Bar. Man, 0 for 1. Fall Bar Baseball Show. Kevin and Ryan are back with you to talk about what we've seen go down here in the big leagues so far, it being the last day in May. A lot has transpired. As always, there's a lot of unexpected that's gone down. Ryan's checking in from Atlanta, Georgia. Ryan, how are you?
I'm good. Starting the old job. I've been
Big
working, and kind of been doing a lot less baseball than in the last 4 months. So it's been a little bit of a change, but doing pretty solid.
We kind of get like a 3 week-ish off season from doing stuff
Yeah,
this time of year.
yeah,
It still gets busy on us in the summer, but
yeah.
we're at a break. The big league teams are not at a break. They've been going for 2 months now. Um, I feel more inclined to start with some of the more positive stories and some teams that have, I would say, surprised us in terms of their record and how they're doing. Firstly, the Tampa Bay Rays were picked almost at a consensus for last in the AL East or fourth at best.
Yeah.
And they're in first. They're 35 and 20. Is this the best? This is the second best,
Third
third
best record in baseball.
third best team in baseball, best team in the AL. And we know the Rays have had magic in the past, but it felt like it was dwindling a little bit over the past couple of years, and they just completely flipped it on its head.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Rays are such an interesting story because the pitching at the beginning of the year was a little bit of a giant question mark. Like, hey, what is Shane McClanahan going to give us? Is he going to be available? We knew Rasmussen would be fine, but Nick Martinez is top five in the league in ERA, and they've got probably the best bullpen in baseball, and or at least one of them. And when you've got three super top end starters and a pretty really really good bullpen, it's kind of hard to argue against that.
Yeah, and that's something that we said easily every time that the Rays were really good over the past few years is
Yeah.
their pitching is the best.
Yes.
And it's
Absolutely.
back up there again. And then they're getting enough help on offense. And Chandler Simpson has actually been really good. Um, Yandy Diaz is hitting with power like we know he can. He hits the ball really hard, but he often hits it low.
Hmm.
But when you hit the ball hard, good things happen. Junior Caminero, I think he's doing fine, or at least good enough. He might not be on.
865 OPS.
Yep, that's
Doing
good.
great.
He might not be on his 100 home run pace. And then their catcher platoon is Nick Fortes and Hunter Fiducia. Not
And
in
they're
my
both hitting
not
the
in,
ball well. Well, Fortes not as much, but it seems like Fiducia's the offensive guy, and Fortes, I'm fairly certain, has one of the better pop times in baseball this year.
yeah, not in my book, but good catchers, good pitchers.
Yeah.
And they defend. We know that the Rays will defend. And Taylor Walls is a nifty little player. They're
Yeah.
getting it done.
They're just doing the thing. They've got a unique approach to baseball this year. They're not following the trend of, oh, I'm gonna go hit a million home runs and strike out a million times. They're doing quite the opposite. They want you to put the ball in play, hit it hard, hit it the other way, use your speed, and they're making it work.
Yeah, yeah, they are. They're off to a really hot start. It's kind of a start that I don't think they'll crash and burn. They might crash and settle, but I don't think they'll crash and burn because the pitching can sustain you for so long.
Right. And it's not like they're having a ridiculous offensive output from some super unsuspecting guys. Like you expect Caminero to have a mid 800s OPS. Yeah, Yandy's 934 is not going to sustain, but he'll be in the 800s by the
Yeah,
end of the year.
sure.
And
Not far off.
Aranda will probably find his way in there as well. So I don't think anything they're doing offensively is like crazy outlandish. So I could very well see them winning this division. especially with how some of the other teams in the division are currently playing.
Yeah. Staying on the positive side, well, half and half. The AL Central, we liked the Royals and the Tigers,
Yeah.
and they are both awful.
Yeah, I don't really, and I'm getting a call, sorry. I don't know if you heard that. Um, but yeah, um, these teams are like not even really all that close to being the best in the division. Both
No,
of them are 11 and 11 and a half games back. And, Detroit's dealt with injuries, especially with Tarek, who's like an automatic win. So they've probably missed 3 wins because of that. But it's just like the team is just not performing as they should. And the Royals, it's like the same thing. This offense is not what we thought it was going to be, and the pitching is not as, scrappy and deep as we thought it was going to be. Noah Cameron and Chris Bubich have completely fell below their expectations. Reagan's has a 4.84 ERA, and we thought this starting five was gonna dominate.
yeah,
Um, and then the same goes for the offense. Caglione is still hitting with a 600 OPS, Pasquantino 645. Carter Jensen's swinging it pretty well, but
he's
I
doing
think we
well.
all expected a little bit more from all of these players. Um, so yeah,
I mentioned the teams that aren't doing well to lead a segue into the Guardians, and they're in first place. Um, Unsuspecting, not really unsuspecting, but like young guys that are doing it more than you thought. Travis Bazzana, I know he was the first overall pick, but he has looked unbelievably comfortable.
yeah,
And the whole thing these past couple years when we've been doing this with the Guardians is get Jose some help. He's
yeah,
been the only guy for so long, and now you've got Bazzana, Brian Rocchio, and Chase DeLauter all being above average hitters at the same time. And this is what happens. They just needed to get that lineup a little bit denser.
yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, and it's coming from multiple directions, and Gavin Williams has been one of the best pitchers, on the planet thus far. Parker Messick has also done his thing. Um, but the Guardians are always a similar story to the Rays, where
They're going
when
to
they're
pitch.
having success, they're going to pitch. It's really just a big question mark of what that lineup is going to do. And now that you have Bizana in there, attacking the game from multiple aspects, he can play multiple positions, he can steal bags. Um, and yeah, so it's been a real success story here for the Guardians, who I think for most of us had them right in the middle of the league, kind of expecting them to pull off some magic, but not really expecting them to do all that much damage. And now they're looking to win this division.
I wouldn't have guessed that half their lineups would have OPS like comfortably above 750.
Right.
I would
Yeah.
guess that maybe one guy was doing that and then also Ramirez, but
Yeah,
they're getting and they're not even like falling into good luck. Like their guys are just playing well.
absolutely. I
Uh,
think one thing that's funny is I had the Rays projected to win 67 wins this game or
yeah.
this year, and they're well over halfway to that, and it's not even June.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I think they might get there.
yeah.
AL West, maybe we got to circle back when we talk to the doom and gloom because I mean the best team is half one game over. So like
Yeah, sorry, I'm pulling up the standings again. Where did
the,
they go?
the Mariners,
Yeah,
Mariners
but the Mariners have been the only
down
team in that division.
beating.
The Astros, we both were relatively high on coming into the year, and they can't pitch and they can't hit. Um,
They have trouble staying healthy.
and that's the big thing. They've got Jordan in that lineup, and Pena seems to be doing a little bit better recently, but it's just not exactly the Astros of old, and they're tailoring towards being sellers at
Yeah,
the end of the year.
yeah,
So
so watch.
I think one thing that we need to touch on, staying on the positive end, is
Yeah,
the Atlanta Braves.
yeah,
And
absolutely. Best team in baseball.
it's pretty unbelievable what they've been able to do with the pieces that they have. We knew coming into the year that Matt Olson and Drake Baldwin and Acuna were going to do their things, but those while those guys are, doing really well, they're not the entire success story
No,
here for the Braves.
for sure not.
Um, you know, they've got Michael Harris with an 855 OPS playing league best defense in center field, and Dom Smith has an 847 OPS in 123 at bats. He's played in 46 games. So it's like sustaining. Jorge Mateo, same exact thing, 36 games, 845 OPS. And it's just like, how do they keep doing it? How do they keep picking up these guys that were kind of misfits on other teams and now they're killing it? Mauricio Dubon has 1.2 WAR
Yeah.
in May, and it's it's a true testament to the Braves organization as a whole. Um, and it's just been like a crazy, crazy success story without crazy good pitching too. And their pitching
Yeah.
is good and it's a lot better than we thought it was going to be, but they've still got some guys in there where you're a little bit questionable about.
We talked in March. The Braves obviously had a very down year last year, like almost nightmarish. We talked in March, we looked at the roster and we kind of both agreed to ourselves that it could very easily be 92 or 93 wins just with that
Absolutely.
same group, just when the ball bounces a different way.
Right. Absolutely.
This is looking more like 102 or 103 because everything has gone so well.
And it's looking like a very comfortable 102, 103. Like they're off to such a hot start that it would honestly be surprising if they didn't reach 95 wins.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Bryce Elder has turned it around. Um,
Yeah, he developed that cutter Maddox told him to develop, which is interesting.
Spencer Strider is back and healthy. He's doing decent.
Yeah.
Chris Sale the Brave has been fantastic.
Yeah, seriously.
And then the bullpen. You had Raisel Iglesias, who was one of the better late inning guys, and then you got another one in Robert Suarez. And having two guys that can essentially shut a game down. Iglesias is a 1.02 ERA and Suarez is a 0.71. So they're giving up combined, they're giving up 2 runs per 9 innings. And if that's the back end of your bullpen, usually you're going to win a lot.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
and especially like if Sale takes you seven
the
with
game's
one
over.
earned, you win the ball game.
Yeah, the game's for sure over.
It's over. So yeah, it's been exactly what Alex Anthopoulos dreamed of and more
Yeah,
for this Braves team.
for sure.
Um, I think the most interesting division, and we kind of talked about this a little bit before, is the NL Central.
They're all good.
All four teams are still above 500, and it's like all of these teams don't really look all that fraudulent. Um, and we had a number of them in the 70s
Yeah,
of
yeah.
wins entering the year.
3 of them, I bet.
Let's see, yeah, let me go check what I had. I had the Pirates at 79 and the Cards at 67. So the Cardinals for sure are outproducing that number. And
Yeah.
let's talk about the Cardinals for a little bit.
Yeah, they're doing good. Jordan Walker, I know off the top of my head, has been
Yep.
pulverizing the baseball.
Yep.
The pitching has been enough to put it together, clearly, because they're 4 games above 500, and they've gotten some bright spots out of their bullpen, especially I know Jojo Romero, the lefty, is a little bit of a maniac, but yeah, you got some numbers for the Birds.
Yeah, I was about to use War, but I'm gonna go to Fangraphs to use War. Um, but I mean, they've been just so good overall, especially at the top of that order. Because Weatherholt, while he's not tearing the cover off the ball, he is absolutely been one of the better defenders
Mhm.
in that right. So it's just been super impressive. All right, Fangraphs is just not wanting to cooperate with me here. So yeah, Jordan Walker using B WAR has a 3 WAR, and JJ Weatherholt, while his OPS is 150 less than Walker's, still only has point 0.3 WAR less. So he's killing it on the defensive end. He can swipe some bags. Um, and then they've got Ivan Herrera, who's been killing the ball for them. Burleson, we knew he was going to be good. Honestly, we hinted at him as like the brightest spot on this team
Seriously.
before the year, and now it's looking like he's not even in the top three. Um, the pitching, I still am concerned with.
Me too.
They McGreevy's been good, but every advanced metric shows that that won't hold. And then the rest of them are kind of about what we expected out of them. May, Palante, and Libertor all are sitting around the 4.5 ERA range.
Mhm.
Um, but the big success has been Riley O'Brien. And
Yeah.
while his ERA has ticked up a little bit since the last time I checked,
No, he's been
um,
great.
he's been so good. His stuff looks unhittable. I've watched him a handful of times this year. Um, so, but yeah, this team, if they want to be buyers, they could exercise that and get an arm or two and compete for the playoffs. Um, but we'll see what they decide to do come deadline time because they're kind of in an awkward position. So,
And it's in a month and a half from now, so things could look completely different for them.
right.
I kind of hope they don't because I like when the Cardinals are playing well, especially when they were really counted out by just about everyone, us included.
Yeah.
I'm worried about like a 2 week stretch where you get a cold Walker and a cold Herrera, or maybe one of the three big boppers gets injured and you go like 3-9 or something, and things don't look as good because the pitching, like you said, is scary. But to get to the point where they're at now, 30-26, is, I mean, that would have been a crazy bet to place at the beginning of the season, and we're here in real time.
Absolutely.
At the top of this division, the Brewers are the Brewers are brewing again. They're 13 games above. They are sharply in command in the NL Central, even with five teams above 500, because they just run their ball club better than everyone else does.
They just keep finding ways. And every year it feels like a new guy steps up for them offensively when we thought that it was lost. For
Mhm.
example, this year Jake Bowers has an 832 OPS, and we knew Bowers as like this platoon lefty who, would kill righties, but now he's like an everyday starter for them. And Churio has come back and been himself. He hasn't been anything insane, but he's still hitting with a 720 OPS and he flies around the ball field. We know that. But the biggest win has been Bryce Terang hitting with an 845 OPS. He's spraying the ball all over the yard. He steals a lot of bags and he plays, I mean, he has a platinum glove to his name. So we don't have to worry about that. And when you look at this team, when you have guys like that step up, when you have guys like Garrett Mitchell stepping up and playing great ball, um, Brendan Lockridge, Andrew Vaughn, all these guys, like they're just playing Brewers baseball. They're stepping up and they're making it happen. We haven't even touched on Yelich yet, who it looks like he's missed some
But
time. Yeah, he's played 27 games this year. So they're doing this without Yelich, for the most part, which is super impressive. And it's been a real win for this team.
if Bryce Terang finishes with an 845 OPS, he's one of the 15 best players in baseball, just based on
Absolutely.
value production because he runs and he plays great defense. That's kind of the mold for the Brewers is good defense up the middle, which they have with options. I mean, Terang and Joey Ortiz are both good. And then you have Blake Perkins, Garrett Mitchell, Sal Frelick, and that's just three outfielders because Churio's there. They play great defense up the middle, not to mention William Contreras behind the plate. And then kind of their traditional power spots on the field are platoon guys that win their matchups a lot, like
Yeah.
Jake Bowers left on right or Andrew Vaughn right on left. They get offense from those guys. They don't ask for too much. They just get them in their spots where they have favorable matchups, and then they play great defense up the middle. They help their pitchers out who do a really good job, and they score enough to win, and they win a lot.
Absolutely. And it's almost like they select talent based on how they are at the miscellaneous things, that
Yeah,
being, defense, speed, base running, all that kind of stuff. And then if you hit well enough, then that's awesome. And if you don't, then they'll get it from somewhere else.
yeah.
Um,
One more
they
thing.
also happen to have
You got
two
it.
pitchers with a sub one or sub two ERA, and one of them is trending towards a Cy Young, that being Jacob Mizorowski. Um, and so yeah, it's been crazy to watch this staff. I mean, you got Aaron Ashby, who's got 36 innings. I think he's starting games this year. Yeah, started. Actually, no, he's only started one. He just has 26 appearances, which is ridiculous. Um, and
Working.
so he's got a 2 ERA. He's been unhittable. Chad Patrick, somehow 2.6 ERA. And they just keep finding ways.
Yeah.
So we talked about this at the beginning of the year. The Brewers have some special magic that they'll kind of cook up, but I think me and you alike kind of the only reason we had them above 84, 85 wins was because of the name of their club.
Yeah, because the roster doesn't flash out at you, especially the pitchers, but you we've learned, like we did with the Rays, to trust their pitching development and kind of know that it will help them. And if you're making a trade and you give them a pitcher, i.e. the Red Sox for Kyle Harrison or something else, don't do it. If they want a guy from you that you're
Yeah,
willing to trade, they see something in that guy and they're going to be right.
yeah,
Good for
absolutely.
good for the Brewers.
I think now is the point in the episode where we start to talk about our respective teams and how
Yeah.
much of a disappointment they have been.
Yeah, we got to start talking about the bad here. So if you want to let it go, I'm not going to talk about the Sox for too long, but if you want to let it go on the Mets,
I mean, I'll give my piece. The team has just been a massive disappointment, and really, it's just offensively, it's been so bad. Um, Bo Bichette is hitting with a 588 OPS right now, and and yes, he has been getting unlucky. Yes, you can pull up the Savant page and it looks fine. But he'll have hot stretches and then he'll get super cold again, and he doesn't really look all that comfortable. Um, the real bright spot of this team has been Juan Soto, but it's kind of hard for him to carry everybody else. And when him, Bichette, and Lindor have played 4 games together this year, so the injury bug is killing this team. And Lindor hasn't played since mid-April, um, and the Luis Robert hasn't played since around that same time. Jorge Polanco hasn't played since the first week of the season. And now Clay Holmes is on the IL until the very end of the year after getting hit with an 111-mile-an-hour comebacker, which that's just awesome.
yeah,
Um, so the injury bug has killed this team, but it just feels like it's going to be hard to come back from this because of how bad each side of the ball has been. Really, the only thing saving this team is the bullpen.
yeah,
And Luke Weaver's been fantastic. And Devin Williams has been, by numbers, not great, but he's stepped up in a lot of big moments and he's had a lot of great saves for us. And Christian Scott has come up and been really, really good. And that's helped us out a lot. But it's just so hard when Bichette is hitting so badly and when Semien is the worst player on the field every time he steps on it.
just about.
Um, but it's hard. I'm trying to point out bright spots here, but it's kind of hard to find it. Alvarez was starting to find his flow, and then he gets hurt again.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, Vientos is starting to look more comfortable, getting super unlucky, but been cold recently. So
He's swinging it okay though,
Yeah, the team,
comparative to some of his teammates also.
right. It, by numbers, every expected metric expects this offense to be better, but it just hasn't looked it so far, and it's going to be tough here in the next couple weeks. Because we have Seattle. We go for a sweep tonight against Miami, and then we have Seattle, San Diego, St. Louis, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Chicago, Philadelphia, Toronto, Atlanta, and then Kansas City is finally the first team like well under 500 for the rest of the month. But if there's one thing I know about my Mets, it's that they're backwards, and maybe playing a bunch of tough competition will light a
Could
fire
be
under their ass. So we'll see.
possible. It's just unfortunate how, especially the big investments don't always pan out, or like the trade you think is going to be what does it, like a Nimmo for Semien swap, which was always a little bit puzzling.
Yeah,
Um, doesn't work out, and then you just run into some bad luck, especially with the Clay Holmes stuff, because he was like, "Look at me, I'm a starting pitcher and I'm good at it."
absolutely. And he was kind of the biggest bright spot on the entire team before he got hurt.
Yeah,
But yeah, the Semien move, I'm honestly not even mad at getting rid of Brandon Nimmo because his defense last year at times was extremely hard to watch, and the bat was very obviously slowly regressing. But the return was not what I would have asked for. Semyon was obviously regressing with the bat and obviously already
has
bad.
been.
And the team has plenty of infielders. I don't know that,
I'm with you.
but we'll see how it goes. It's still May.
Hmm.
But the team's 8 games under 500. If they can get hot for the next 10, they go 7 out of 10. You're looking at, a very, really, really solid record. But
Yeah,
now onto your Sox.
yeah. The
What
Red
you
Sox
got
are
there?
nine games under 500. Um, they have been for almost a week now. Injury bug a little bit. Roman Anthony's been out. Garrett Crochet's been out for
Yeah,
almost a month each, which, like, I mean, that's your best hitter and your best pitcher. And they didn't have
right.
awesome starts to the season, but there are so many players that don't have awesome starts to the season. They just got hurt and didn't get a chance to turn it around. Um, the run prevention Red Sox thing is technically working because the pitching hasn't been a problem. The the starting rotation that was identified as a strength, even with Crochet out, has still been a strength. Gray and Suarez have both been good. I know we've mentioned some young pitchers that have been succeeding. Peyton Tolley and Connolly Early have both been succeeding. Um, so yeah, the pitchers are doing fine. Aroldis Chapman in the bullpen, as good as he's ever been for the Red Sox at age 37 and 38 or whatever it is.
Unbelievable. He's
Um,
timeless.
and the defense has been good too. We know about Sadon and Willier in the outfield, and Duran's pretty good, and the infield defense with Durbin, who's the worst hitter in the big leagues, but the best defensive third baseman, and Contreras, and then Marcelo Mayer's good. I mean, those are the guys on the Red Sox. They play good defense. They don't know how to hit. Nobody can hit. That's basically it. Like if they were a league average offense, they'd be a few games, maybe almost 9 games over 500 instead of 9 games below. So the ideology with the run prevention strategy, I like it and I recognize that it's worked, but you have to have both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
So that's really it for me. And I think the position player group has been mismanaged by the whole organization for a while, but if the bats can get at least some sort of hot or hotter, then they can be in the mix for the playoffs in a weak American League kind of throughout the whole year. But if they just completely fizzle out, then it'll be a crapshoot.
Yeah, I
What?
think and the whole the sad part about the run prevention is it looks so good at the beginning of the year because we expected so much out of Duran and Anthony and maybe even guys like Story and Marcelo Mayer, and all of them
Or
have kind of
dark.
just taken a huge step back at the plate. And well, I guess Marcelo was never really there to begin with, but
Yeah.
we kind of expected him to get a little bit more comfortable this year. And, you know, I think the difference between this team and the Mets is that this team has hitters over 700 OPS, which is nice to look at. It's nice
A
to
couple.
see Wilson Contreras hitting the crap
Good
out of the
thumbs up.
ball. Really, really good.
Wilson
Um,
Contreras.
and Willier looks great. He looks just like he did in the WBC, and Sadon's been hitting the ball well, and
Yep.
both of those two play defense better than anybody else in the
Yep.
league. So, um, I could see this team turning it around as long as you get guys like Story and Duran and then Anthony when he comes back on the right track at the plate. And then you're really talking about a scary lineup as
Yep.
long as they can get back to the form that we're used to seeing from them.
Yeah. I mean, I think they just need a little bit of fuel and they can get back into contention, but that's uh that's for us to watch and see.
Yep.
We talked about the struggles between some of the other teams in the American League, or some of the teams at least that we thought weren't going to struggle. Um, a team we thought was going to be mid and is turning out being terrible is Tony Vitello's San Francisco Giants.
Oh my gosh.
It's
They
bad.
their offense makes me feel like I root for a team with a really good offense. Um, it's it's honestly sad watching some of these players be as bad as they are, like Devers with a 700 OPS.
That's
The
just
whole
not
gamble
Dev.
on Devers was you knew that or you knew in quotations, like his offense was a safe spot. He was never going to stop hitting.
Yeah,
It gets to San Francisco, and the first thing he does is stop hitting.
stop kidding.
And Casey Schmidt is the best hitter on this team. Um, and Luis Ariz is the second best hitter on this team, and that is not supposed to happen on a team with Rafael Devers and Willie Adames and Matt Chapman. You know, Bryce Eldridge has not looked great. You've got guys like Heliot Ramos who are fine, but when they play as bad as defense as Heliot Ramos does, it
Hmm.
shouldn't really matter. But yeah,
They've only got one starting pitcher with an ERA under 4.
woof.
It's Landon Raup,
Wow.
and all the over 4 guys are also over 4.5 guys. So there's no one even just like kind of doing okay. And they play in a big park,
Yeah.
and and I don't know. I know they used to have Andrew Bailey as their pitching coach before he moved over to Boston,
Yep.
and they haven't had as quality of a pitching arsenal since then. Did they lose? They lost Rogers, the from down here guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
they traded him to the Mets and he's at Toronto now.
Oh yeah. But they lost some bullpen pieces. Where's Ryan? How's Ryan Walker doing?
6.46 ERA.
Oh man, he's not hurt. He's just bad.
Yeah. It it doesn't really make a lot of sense either because it's almost like the Braves offense last year where you're looking at everyone and they're all having down years.
Yeah,
Um and Blade Tidwell has actually been a bright spot for them. He was in that Tyler Rogers trade last year.
don't really
Um,
need him.
but yeah, and it's easy to look at this team and blame Vitello as a rookie manager making a
Mm,
huge step from uh Division One baseball all the way to the
yeah,
MLB, and but you can't make that assumption here because the pitching has just been bad. There's no one to
yeah.
turn to. There's no way to manage this bullpen properly when you're making a risk putting anyone in the game. And the lineup, you don't really have much flexibility with these
Yeah.
guys. So it's tough. It's
The
really, really tough.
the ERAs look like guys that are on the Rockies.
No, seriously.
And, like that's just how the Rockies have to operate because of where they play. But this is a open air, very large, pitcher friendly stadium,
Yeah.
and it's just it's just not working out for their pitchers as a whole. I don't know what the issue is, but the Giants the Giants won't be competing with these three teams that in the NL West that we haven't talked about a lot because it's kind of holding to form. The Dodgers are in first, and the Padres are a couple games behind, and the Diamondbacks are close to average, but still looming as potential surprise threats. And
Yeah,
that's what the NL West is.
it really is. And I think one thing that's interesting is the Padres being able to win games without some of their guys being so good. And they actually have a negative run differential right now, but they're 7 games above 500. Um,
They haven't hit it well.
they just they have not. I mean, this offense statistically looks worse than the Mets, which is like an insult of all sorts. But yeah, I mean, Tatis finally got his first home run last
Yeah.
night, and looks to be trending upwards. Jackson Merrill is hitting sub 200, which is crazy to look at. Bogarts has been his same self ever since he got to San Diego, just not as good. And Machado looks terrible himself. So really what's saving this team is the pitching
The
and
bullpen,
coming from
especially.
guys like Vasquez and Michael King and even Bueller's spinning the ball pretty
Not terrible.
decently. Um, but yeah, and obviously we know the bullpen is insane. Morihone, Mason Miller is the best pitcher in baseball. So yeah, it I'm curious how this is going to develop for these guys because of where like it doesn't really feel like either side of the ball is doing anything exceptional, and yet they're still winning so many games. So I think we'll see one of two things, and that's either, they stay on the same pace, hitting and pitching, and we start to see a lot more of those kind of late wins, those lucky wins come through, and or the offense goes back to what it normally is, and the pitching settles in a little bit, and the team steamrolls to
They'll take
90,
they'll
95
take
wins.
off.
So yeah,
Yeah. For their run differential and for how the bad starts their hitters have gotten off to be sitting 7 games over 500, like if they were sitting at 500, they kind of be like, okay, well, our guys can get hot and we can still be fine.
right.
So they should be feeling pretty lucky.
Yeah, I that's an interesting development there that I honestly wasn't really aware of until now, and curious to watch that unfold.
We can give the Phillies some air before we get out of here, just because we kind of skipped over them because they're doing mid. Um,
Yeah.
they have the actual Cy Young in the NL. Sorry, Jacob Mizorowski, but
Yeah,
Christopher Sanchez has pitched like 100,000 innings and not let
it's
up a
insane.
run,
Yeah.
like 40 or something, or maybe the streak's over, but he's been dominant.
Yeah. And we knew this pitching was going to be good,
Mhm.
but honestly, outside of Sanchez and Wheeler,
Wheeler was coming back from injury,
it
but
hasn't been that great. Wheeler's been
yeah,
amazing.
he's his normal self.
And yeah, I mean, I'm looking at these stats, these guys, and I'm not seeing anything that's like knocking my socks off on the pitching end.
Not on the
And
hitting
then
end either.
you go back over to the order, and the only guy that's really killing it is, of course, Kyle Schwarber and Harper. Um, so and Brandon Marsh, who apparently is like fifth all time in BABIP. So that's an interesting story. But
Mark's hitting
uh,
283. He doesn't walk at all.
yeah, never walks. But he's hitting for an 830 OPS and he's doing it really well. But I would like to see, well, I don't really care to see because I'm a Mets fan, but if I were a Phillies fan, I would like to see this lineup kind of even out a little bit because it's so like
Right.
Schwarber, Harper, and Marsh are killing it. And then the rest of the guys are kind of just
Yeah.
getting their hits every third game. And, Turner hasn't been his usual self, but I feel like we've seen this from him before and he's been totally fine.
Yeah.
And Bohm and Garcia and Stott have been really bad. And you would like to see more out of those guys and more out of guys like well, Crawford's played. He's like the best base runner in the sport, even though he's not a great defender, which is a little strange.
Yeah, it's ironic.
But yeah, you would like to see more juice out of your guys that are playing every day.
Mhm.
But nonetheless, they're a game above 500. They're still the same Phillies that
Yeah,
have made the playoffs every year for the last 5 years, and or however long it's been.
yeah.
And yeah, it's
It's more than likely that they'll figure it out and they'll be there again.
right.
But
Exactly.
it's exciting this summer in the NL because you have five teams in the Central above 500, and you thought three of them would be above, or two and a half, or something like that.
Right.
So it's going to make the wild card race for the Phillies and the Padres and Arizona pretty sticky.
Right.
And the Mets are not out of they're not out of it if they turn it around to get back into the mix.
It's too early to say anyone's out of it.
Exactly.
And um, outside of teams like the Rockies and the Giants where they kind of feel a little lost, and they don't really have the talent to make like a super turnaround.
Yeah.
But teams like the Mets and the Marlins and the Nationals, who are outside of the wild card by two, 2 to 5 to 6 games, all it takes is one hot week and you're right back in the mix,
Yeah.
or one really hot month and you're in the wild card.
Yeah.
And um, we see it all the time. And the same goes for the guys that are in the wild card right now. The three teams that are in there right now are the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Cubs. But the Cubs just lost 10 in a row, and they don't
Yeah.
look all that super, like they don't look all that superb throughout. And the Diamondbacks kind of same thing. They are just good enough, but feels like every year they're a team or two outside of the wild card. And then the Padres, we just kind of touched on how they could fall apart if they keep this same pace.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting things that could happen on the National League side. The American League side is a little weaker. They currently have a team in the wild card who is a game under 500. Um, so we'll see how that goes.
That'll that'll change because
It will.
someone will go 14 or 20 in the
Right.
next week. I mean, maybe it's the Blue Jays who are doing well, or like the Red Sox do it, or the Rangers do it. Like someone will get hot in June and they'll be like, okay, so this is the other playoff team that we were missing in the AL.
Yeah.
But a team has to turn up and decide that it's going to be them.
Yeah. Well,
And
one team that's in there right now is the White Sox. So kudos to them. They're fun.
White
They're
Sox,
electric.
nice job, guys.
They can hit it. They can swing it, and it's really fun to watch, honestly.
Tough injury to Murakami. How about that contract though?
I mean,
He didn't
that
waste any
contract is
time.
looking every bit of a steal as it could have.
And then it was just a 2 year, so he's gonna go get paid.
Oh yeah, sure will.
Well, we'll keep tabs on it here over the next couple weeks, and we'll be back with you sometime in the middle of June to see who got hot, like we predicted, and who cooled down as we kind of move from the beginning of the season to the time where we figure out who these teams really are. And you got any final thoughts here?
Not really.
Yeah, it's been an exciting season, frustrating for us, but
Yep.
if our teams are out of it, then we can kind of take a step back and enjoy the other teams
Right. Absolutely.
that we can. And we'll keep tabs on it, and we'll be back with you all on the Pyramid Sports Network in a couple weeks.
Adios.
Peace, everyone.